Think about those images you sometimes see, maybe on news. Armored vehicles rolling down, well, regular city streets, officers in what looks like military gear.
Yeah.
It makes you stop and think, what's happening here? So today, we're diving deep into this idea of police militarization.
Yeah.
We want to explore how that line between civilian policing and military operations seems to have gotten blurry. Look at the history, why people say it's needed, and, the real impact.
And it's interesting because it's not just about the gear, is it? It's more profound. It's a shift in like 4 areas. The material, that's the hardware, the gear.
Right.
Then the cultural aspect of this warrior mindset idea, the organizational part, like SWAT teams becoming more standard.
Yeah.
And operational tactics they use, like no-knock raids.
Okay, that's a really helpful framework. Gear versus mindset culture. So our mission here is to unpack all that, get past the headlines. What does the evidence actually tell us? Does this stuff keep us safer, or is there a significant cost?
Good question.
Yeah.
Historically, a lot of this ramped up during the war on drugs.
Right, back in the 80s.
Yeah, and then it really accelerated after 9/11 with the war on terror, the federal government. It played a huge role. Think about the Pentagon's 1033 program.
The 1033 program? Yeah, I've heard of that. What exactly does it do?
Well, it's transferred something like over $7.4 billion worth of military property. We're talking MRAPs, those armored vehicles, assault rifles, all sorts of things, to local police.
For free.
Often at no cost to the department,
Yeah.
And that free gear, well, it creates a really powerful incentive, doesn't it? Sometimes it completely bypasses local democratic checks and balances.
Okay, but let's be fair. We need to understand the arguments for this, right? Why do proponents say police need this kind of equipment and approach?
Sure. The main arguments are usually about officer safety and being prepared for, extreme threats. Active shooters, potential terrorist attacks.
Like that shootout in North Hollywood.
Exactly. The 1997 North Hollywood shootout is often cited. Police officers there felt completely outgunned by bank robbers with automatic weapons and body armor. That event really fueled the argument for needing heavier firepower.
That makes sense on the surface, being prepared for the worst. But what does the research say? Does having this military gear actually, make a difference in safety or crime rates?
That's where the evidence gets really counterintuitive. Major studies, like one in PNAS back in 2018 by Jonathan Momolo, it found basically no detectable evidence that getting military gear or using SWAT teams more often actually lowers crime rates or reduces assaults on officers.
No evidence.
None that they can detect. And then a 2020 study in Nature Human Behavior found the same thing regarding the 1033 program, transfers no link to crime reduction.
Huh. So if it doesn't demonstrably make communities safer, or even officers safer according to these studies, then what are the consequences? What's the downside?
Well, the sources point to some pretty serious negative impacts. There's a correlation between militarization and an increase in violent encounters between police and the public.
An increase?
Yeah. And you also see this thing called mission creep with SWAT teams. They were originally for, hostage situations, really high-risk events. But now, something like 80% of SWAT deployments are for more routine stuff, like serving drug warrants, often using those aggressive tactics.
Wow, 80%. Can you give an example of how this plays out in real life? Sometimes the specific stories really bring it home.
Absolutely. The sources mention some tragic cases. There's the story of Jose Garina, a Marine veteran. He was killed in his home, shot 71 times during a drug raid that turned out to be a mistake.
Oh my God.
And another really heartbreaking one involved a toddler, Bonkum Fanosavan, just 19 months old, critically injured by a flashbang grenade thrown into his crib during a no-knock raid. Again, searching for drugs.
A flashbang in a crib? That's horrifying. It really undermines the idea of protect and serve, doesn't it?
Right.
What does this do to trust between police and communities?
It erodes it significantly. These incidents and the general approach fuel fear and distrust, particularly in communities of color, which, the data shows, are disproportionately targeted by these kinds of tactics. That warrior mindset can create an us versus them dynamic.
So looking at all this evidence, the lack of proven safety benefits, the mission creep, these terrible incidents, the erosion of trust, it seems hard to argue militarization is working as intended. What are the sources suggesting as a path forward? What policy changes?
They suggest a few key things. One is congressional reform of those federal programs like 1033, maybe putting more limits on what's transferred or how.
Okay.
Another is boosting local oversight, making sure communities have a say in whether their police departments acquire this kind of gear. And importantly, strategically reallocating resources.
Reallocating how? Towards what?
towards alternatives that do have evidence behind them for reducing violence and building trust. Things like enhanced de-escalation training. There are programs like ICAT, and expanding the use of crisis intervention teams, CITs, which are specially trained units to handle mental health crises more effectively.
Right, focusing on de-escalation and specialized responses instead of just defaulting to force or military-style tactics.
Exactly.
So to kind of wrap this up, the evidence we've looked at today strongly suggests that police militarization hasn't really delivered on its promise of increased safety. Instead, it seems to come with significant costs, harming communities without clear benefits.
That sums it up well. And ultimately, addressing this really requires us to think about the fundamental mission of policing in America. Is it a warrior model, focused on combat? Or should it be a guardian model, truly dedicated to protecting and serving all communities? It leaves you with a question, really. What kind of policing do you want to see where you live?